We're in Dizengoff Street in Tel Aviv, a block away from the hotel, where if we turn left, 20 minutes away is the Dizengoff Center or Dizengoff Mall.
Israel is a Middle Eastern country on the Mediterranean Sea, which is regarded by Jews, Christians, and Muslims as the biblical Holy Land.
Since it's a little bit too early to go to the mall, we head straight to go to the promenade of the Mediterranean Sea. On the way to the promenade, we come across several small galleries selling artworks by local artists. This is an 8-day tour of Israel and Palestine from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, where we'll be exploring ancient biblical sites and stand in the places where history unfolded. We'll spend 3 nights in Jerusalem, where a guided walking tour of Jerusalem's old town will take us to the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus prayed the night before his arrest. We'll be visiting the Jewish Quarter and Western or Wailing Wall, which is the most sacred place in Judaism.
Tel Aviv is the second most populous city in Israel after Jerusalem. With a population of about 450,000, it is the financial and technological center of the country. The city was founded in 1909 by Jews on the outskirts of the ancient port city of Jaffa. Immigration by mostly Jewish refugees meant that the growth of Tel Aviv soon outpaced that of Jaffa, which had a majority Arab population at the time. Tel Aviv has the third largest economy in the Middle East after Abu Dhabi and Kuwait City. A party capital in the Middle East, it has a lively nightlife and a 24-hour culture. Aviv is Hebrew for spring, symbolizing renewal, and Tel is a man-made mound accumulating layers of civilization built one over the other and symbolizing the ancient. In 1909, 66 Jewish families gathered on a desolate sand dune to parcel out the land by lottery using seashells. This gathering is considered the official date of the establishment of Tel Aviv.
On your left zone, next you're going to see a small street. It's where the flea market is, where you can get all kinds of things you didn't know you needed. And there are nice cafes and bars. It's a fun place to hang out.
129 seashells were collected from the beach, half of them white and half of them gray. The members' names were written on the white shells and the plot numbers on the gray shells. A boy drew names from one box of shells and a girl drew plot numbers from the second box. Jaffa, now a part of Tel Aviv, was an important port city in the region for many centuries. Its natural harbor has been used since the Bronze Age. Jaffa had been fought over several times from the Canaanites, which is from the year 2000 to 1000 BC, before coming under Ottoman rule in 1515. The ancient port of Jaffa, where according to the Bible, Jonah set sail into the Mediterranean Sea before being swallowed by a fish. Mainstream Bible scholars regard the book of Jonah as fictional and often at least partially satirical, but the character of Jonah may have been based on a historical prophet. Rothschild Boulevard is the place where the lottery of the parcels of land of Tel Aviv took place. The first water well was also later dug at this site. Yitzhak Rabin won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1994 together with longtime political rival Shimon Peres and Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat. He was assassinated by an extremist named Yigal Amir who opposed the terms of the Oslo Accords. Rabin has become a symbol of the Israeli-Palestinian peace process.
The traditional dish in the Jewish cuisine is chopped liver, chopped chicken liver. So for years there's been vegetarian chopped liver, and they make it from eggplant. So eggplant and fried on. So I think the creativity may have started because of the Jewish dietary laws to begin with, and then also Israel has an abundance of vegetables and greeners.
This is the only free tour we've availed of in all our trips, even though we were informed that the Diamond Museum was closed. This trip was recommended by the receptionist at our hotel. It's a nice way to get to know the city since it had no hop-on, hop-off bus.
There are several jewelry stores guides will be bringing tourists to in several countries. Expensive purchases such as gems when traveling can deplete funds substantially.
It's a big center. Here for cutting and polishing of diamonds.
A thorough understanding of the item and accounting of the cost should have previously been thought about. The decision between I should have bought it and I should not have bought it would be taken within an hour.
Countries where diamonds are found is mainly Russia, South Africa. And the formula was calculated by physicist Tolkovsky. He was the one who exactly calculated how many facets to do, and it should be 57. In ancient times, it's a measure of weight. You know, they all had the same weight. Every seed weighed 0.2 of a gram. So 1 carat weighs like this one little seed. Okay, so we don't say in grams, we say in carats. So that's the size.
We also had the opportunity to visit the diamond factory in Amsterdam, where most of what was shown was the grinding of the facets of the diamond rather than the setting of the faceted stones in Tel Aviv. It's always interesting to see how jewelry artists practice their trade as long as you don't buy on impulse.
Just a minute, I'll slip something on.
These are some of their most interesting products, made up of 3 materials: diamonds, gold, and wood. After the Jaffa and Diamond Center free tour, we stopped by the mall to get some lunch. The Dizengoff Mall is just about 300 meters away from our hotel, and we were just in time for its food fair, which it holds every Friday. It also hosts on certain days a fashion and jewelry and an alternative therapist fair. The mall was just like any other mall. The only thing we bought, which would not be available in any other mall, was the authentic Israeli food at the fair.
There are 3 shopping malls in Tel Aviv, which are the Dizengoff Center, Ramat Aviv Mall, and the Azrieli Shopping Mall. Tel Aviv has been ranked as the 25th most important financial center in the world. It has also been named the best gay city in the world. It is a popular destination for LGBT tourists.
This is outside the mall on the way back to the hotel. Several restaurants, shops, and other commercial establishments can be seen on both sides of the street. This is on the top floor, outside of the building on the opposite corner, where our cinema hotel is. That's the unfinished fountain being renovated on the intersection of the street in front of the hotel.
That's right, honey.
breakfast at the hotel the next morning.
Jewish dietary laws or kashrut prohibits the consumption of certain animals such as pork.
These are some of the type of Israeli food we'll be consuming throughout the tour.
The vintage cameras on display is not like the camera in which this video you are watching was shot in. From analog to digital. Is it possible there would be a resurgence of these tools like there's a resurgence of turntables and vinyls?
We're on our way today to the Carmel Flea Market, to Jaffa, and the second flea market dedicated to artists, the Naklat Benjamin Arts and Crafts Fair. Another day to explore Tel Aviv. This is one of the parks in Tel Aviv dedicated to dogs. A lot of the locals are dog lovers. It's not uncommon to find dog walkers walking 4 dogs at a time.
With 1 dog for every 17 residents, Tel Aviv is the city with the highest amount of dogs per capita in the world. There is more than 1 dog park every square kilometer. The Carmel Market is open every day of the week except Shabbat or Saturday and sells mostly food but also a variety of items such as home accessories and flowers. Not much shopping here in terms of what tourists might be looking for. This market caters more to the locals.
The more interesting local products to look forward to would be in Jerusalem, which are the religious items carved out of olive wood. We will be in Jerusalem after several days. Among the foods we've tried in Israel, dates were the best, which tasted better than what we've tried in Bahrain or Saudi.
Tel Aviv is described as a place packed with the kind of vibe more typically found in Sydney and San Francisco.
The Israelis' love for dogs is evident with the number of dog parks which we saw around Tel Aviv.
Research shows that millennials in Tel Aviv, as in Europe, are more focused on their careers. Their dogs are like their kids.
We're on a different part by the Mediterranean Sea again, which is closer to Jaffa. We'll be walking the promenade all the way to Jaffa.
The Mediterranean Sea is a sea connected to the Atlantic Ocean, surrounded by the Mediterranean Basin. Although the sea is sometimes considered as a part of the Atlantic Ocean, it is usually identified as a separate body of water. It covers an approximate area of 2.5 million square kilometers. The Strait of Gibraltar is a narrow strait that connects the Atlantic Ocean to the Mediterranean Sea.
This had been the same street or promenade we saw yesterday on the free car tour courtesy of the Israel Diamond Center. It's going to take us about 6 hours to and from the hotel.
There are more than 20 countries with coastlines on the Mediterranean Sea. The Mediterranean Sea has an average depth of 1.5 kilometers, and the deepest point is more than 5 kilometers.
Mythology says that Jaffa is named for Japhet, one of the sons of Noah, the one who built it after the flood. The natural harbor of Jaffa has been used since the Bronze Age, which is from 3300 to 1200 BC. During the Hellenistic to Byzantine periods, Alexander the Great's troops were stationed in Jaffa. In the medieval period of 636, Jaffa was conquered by the Arabs. In the Ottoman period, in 1515, Jaffa was conquered by the Ottoman Sultan Selim I. In the meantime, we stopped for lunch in one of the restaurants in Jaffa. The pizza is highly recommended.
The Israeli cuisine comprised dishes brought to Israel by Jews from the diaspora. It also incorporates many food traditionally eaten in Middle Eastern and Mediterranean countries. Jaffa has 46,000 residents, of whom 30,000 are Jews and 16,000 Arabs. In the 19th century, Jaffa was best known for its soap industry. Modern industry emerged in the late 1880s, the most successful being metalworking factories. Jaffa's citrus industry began to flourish in the last quarter of the 19th century.
The Christmas season had just ended. That is why a Christmas tree can still be seen standing in the middle of the street. Just like any souk in the Middle East, the streets of the old town are narrow. Vendors are all over, making the streets crowded. However, this always adds to the attraction of the place.
The Jaffa Flea Market, or Souk Hapishpushim, which literally means the flea market, has been operating for more than 100 years.
We're taking a different route on the way back to the hotel, so we'll be able to pass by the second flea market. This part of the city would be easy to miss since it's outside of the old part of Jaffa already.
Jerusalem Boulevard.
Again,
Jerusalem.
The original purpose of the boulevard was to connect Jaffa's orchards with the city center.
this street is dedicated to the most prominent family in Israel, which is the Rothschild.
This place is selling burgers like hotcakes.
This is the second flea market which was recommended to us as a tourist by a local.
The Naklat Binyamin Market is a street market specializing in all sorts of different arts and crafts from all corners of Israel. It started in 1987 with just a handful of artists and now brings more than 200. It has also created a community of the artists who see each other every week and share techniques, materials, and ideas.
Each artist at this market has to be approved by a committee. All works for sale must be original and handmade. And each artist must personally sell their works.
We've come across a market like this in Queenstown, New Zealand. Queenstown is a small town in the South Island of New Zealand, which is the jump-off point to Milford Sound. Only original products sold by its artist can occupy a place and sell at the center of Queenstown. The small window shows a similar flea market in New Zealand. Every Saturday, the creative Queenstown Arts and Crafts Market enjoys the waterfront setting of Earnslaw Park. It's an opportunity in Queenstown to meet local artists accompanied by live music and a beautiful view. In both markets, it is a great opportunity to purchase a souvenir that would be representative of the country and to be able to chat with the local artist.
Actually, it's a fun place where we forgot about how exhausted we were walking all day.
The items being sold here showcases the current creativity scene in Tel Aviv.
It's really more of a place to pick up ideas from.
We would have stayed here longer if not for our tour group meeting shortly. Actually, I would like to come back someday.
My background a little bit, I want to give a little bit my background because my name is Uson and I'm an archaeologist. I directed a lot of excavation in Jerusalem and you can Google my name in Google, so you will see. You have my name on that and just Google it. This one. Second, I directed all.
This is our tour director for the entire Holy Land Discovery Tour, Eli Shukron. Eli is an Israeli archaeologist who have had significant discoveries in his country. He is the best guide we've ever had due to his education and actual experience in the places and history of the route we will be taking. Significant events covering thousands of years will be revealed and described to us by a highly qualified professional.
Today, so we live in Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is a new city. It's 100 years old, not more than that. And in Israel, 100 years old. It's new. And we're going to see the city of Jaffa. Jaffa was on the very close to to Tel Aviv, and Jaffa was very important to the people that living in Jerusalem. Why? Because Jerusalem is on the hills, and Jaffa on the Mediterranean coast.
Eli is one of the foremost experts on biblical archaeology. Eli acts as a tour leader, helping travelers explore some of the very biblical sites he himself excavated.
And when we're talking about the old Jaffa, we talk about what's happened here in the ancient time. It's mean not before 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. We're talking about what's happened here before 4,000 years ago. And this is what they found here. They found here some archaeology.
This is our tour group. Just the right number. Not too many, not too few. On a tourist bus. Mostly from the US. The Abrasha Park is easy to miss because of the hilly terrain of Jaffa. It has the best view of the Mediterranean and Tel Aviv. It never occurred to us that reading the Bible would have made us appreciate this trip more.
Yeah. And if you look, for example, what you can see here, for example, you can see this. What it means?
It's a lamb.
It's a lamb.
It's an offering, Isaac?
Isaac and Abraham. Okay? If you're looking here, if you're looking here, this is the ladder of Jacob.
Jacob's ladder.
Oh, wow.
Okay, there's a meaning in there's a meaning in
a statue.
yeah in that statue. For Jericho, what they use?
Trumpet.
So we have destroying Jericho. We have Isaac and Abraham, and we have the Jacob's
Jacob's
dream.
ladder.
Yeah,
dream.
Jacob's dream.
Caesarea is a town also on the Mediterranean coast. It was built under Herod the Great from 22 to 10 BC.
So we're driving to the north. Wheat and fig and olive and the coast area. Okay, we're in the coast. Then we will move to the hills. Time of Abraham, and then he go to Egypt, and this is the problem. And what?
What's the season for figs and dates?
For what?
For figs and dates.
Figs and dates. Figs.
This is the first part of Caesarea, which is the Roman theater. The second part is a few hundred meters away, the old city.
A lot of banana here. And banana is not one of the fruit that land bless, but it's still. Is the Israel Museum, but what is important of that inscription? It's Latin. And in that inscription that mentioned the name of Pontius Pilatus.
Oh, Pontius Pilatus.
Pontius Pilatus. Why it's important? Because this is the first time that we have inscription with the name of Pontius Pilatus.
Herod's dream has become real. Where once there were dunes, now stands Caesarea becomes the capital of the Roman province of Palestine. By the end of the 4th century, the Roman Empire collapses, and its place in the east is taken by the rising Byzantine Empire. This is a new era for Caesarea. Better fortified walls are built to surround it. A mosque with a magnificent arcade facing the sea is built where the Roman temple and the Byzantine church once stood. In the 12th century, once again the tides of war are upon Caesarea. European crusaders invade the land, hoping to conquer the Christian holy cities. As it was created by the vision of Herod the Great, modern Caesarea has been revived by the vision of a single man, Baron Edmund Benjamin de Rothschild. The Baron purchased Caesarea's lands, aspiring to turn them into a unique place of creativity, tourism, community, recreation, and leisure. Thanks to him, Caesarea is prosperous again, and life fills the city once more.
This was the town built by Herod the Great about 25 to 13 BC as a port city, Caesarea Maritima. Herod constructed a deep sea harbor and built storerooms, markets, roads, baths, temples to Rome and Augustus, and public buildings. Every 5 years, the city hosted major sports competitions, gladiator games, and theatrical productions in its theater overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. Part of Caesarea had already been eaten up by the strong waves of the Mediterranean.
Caesarea Maritima served as an administrative center in Judea province of the Roman Empire and later the capital of the Byzantine Palestina Prima province.
Mayor Amschel Rothschild was the patriarch of the family and the founder of the banking business he started in the 1750s.
The Rothschild family agreed to transfer most of its land holdings, equivalent to 35,000 acres, in and around modern Caesarea. Caesarea is a suburban settlement with a number of residents commuting to work in Tel Aviv or Haifa. The Caesarea Business Park is on the fringe of the city, where there are approximately 170 companies. They employ about 5,000 people. Roman theaters, which retain most of its structure, are an acoustical engineer's thesis. It is magical to hear something developed thousands of years ago with such minimal materials perform wonderfully. Today, modern Caesarea is one of Israel's most upscale residential communities.
There is another part of Caesarea which was preserved about 2 kilometers away from where we were.
Historically, Hebrew is regarded as the language of the Israelites and their ancestors. Hebrew is spoken by over 9 million people worldwide. Modern Hebrew and Modern Standard Arabic are the two official languages of the State of Israel.
Let's say the capital of the Judah country, it was bigger. Caesarea in the Crusade time, it's nothing. Just a village close to the Mediterranean Sea, and the Crusaders built a lot of sites, a lot of city-owned.
Pre-modern Hebrew is mostly used for prayer or study in Jewish communities around the world today. The Hebrew alphabet is also known as the Jewish script, square script, or the block script. The Arabic and Hebrew alphabets have similarities because they are both derived from the Aramaic alphabet. In the traditional form, the Hebrew alphabet is also written from right to left.
Most of the structures in this place are already new, which makes it more of a tourist place than a historical site.
This is when you press it and that's it. Then you
Use it right away.
It's the real one.
Yeah, the real one. And the color it's more deep green and not clear. Clear it's mean
That's why it's
mean
called-
it's bad. It's not so. The quality is less than.
And finally, the third and final site of Caesarea, again about 2 kilometers away, which is the aqueduct.
To the east.
And from here, we say goodbye to Caesarea and DVD number 1 in our Holy Land Discovery Tour.
Shalom!